This bearded man is a dictator. His name is Aladdin. He announces to the people of his Wadiya country that nuclear weapons have been developed and sends this message to a group of American leaders. But Aladdin's opponents are completely uninterested in him. Aladdin was born with a bushy beard. He grew up in the royal family of Wadiya country. Obsessed with his father's brutal behavior, Aladdin grew up and was listed as one of the most dangerous people in the world. But one assassination completely changed Aladdin's fate. The cruel dictator Aladdin turns out to be a kind man with simple desires. Hi guys, welcome back to my movie channel. Today let's watch a political satire comedy film, The Dictator, released in 2012. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Aladdin is the dictator as well as the supreme leader of Wadiya. When asked by a reporter if there were nuclear weapons in Wadiya, he would pretend to be deaf or mute. At the National Sports Festival, he is both the runner and the gunman. He will be the first to start and use his gun to injure the opponent next to him. According to this rule, Aladdin wins 14 gold medals. Besides the cultural aspect of this country, Aladdin also exercises his autocracy. Any words he doesn't understand will have to be completely replaced with the word Aladdin. This confuses everyone. In this case, for example, he gives a speech to the people. Behind his nobility lies the oppression of the weak. His powerful right hand is Tamir. When meeting Aladdin, Tamir must say hello and receive a special gift from him. According to Aladdin's perception, everything must unfold and develop according to his desires. For example, when he sees this weapon, Aladdin feels unsatisfied. He asks who the architect is. Then a scientist stands up and says, "Have you forgotten? Architect Nadal was executed by you 2 years ago while he was explaining the structure of this weapon." Go back in time 2 years ago. At that time the weapon was new, but Aladdin found it not stylish enough, so he asked Nadal to change the round end of the rocket to a pointed one. He thought that it only took a sharp pointed missile to blow up the ground. Nadal seriously doubts whether Aladdin has watched too many cartoons. As a result, Aladdin orders his men to take Nadal to see God. By recounting this terrible memory, the scientist is also implicated. He also has to go to God with Nadal. In the eyes of outsiders, Aladdin is an unreasonable and arbitrary person. He is a tyrant who kills at any moment. Aladdin's close uncle, Tamir, knows his nephew was spoiled, so he proposes to Aladdin to sign an oil export contract with the international community. However, Aladdin thinks that Wadiya's oil is the family's property. It is inviolable. Tamir is Aladdin's coveted leader, who soon plans to overthrow him. Today, the car has just entered the palace gate when a gunshot rings out. Fortunately, that shot hit Aladdin's alternate, and the mastermind is Tamir. The royal guard on Tamir's orders quickly finds another alternative. That night, Aladdin orders international food. After making love, he also takes a souvenir photo. Despite his lewdness, he always feels lonely in an empty room. At this time, the United Nations asks Wadiya to speak out about nuclear weapons. Otherwise, military action will be taken. Aladdin doesn't panic at all. Aladdin's followers are indeed pitiful, for going with him means that they have only half their lives left. Riding on a mighty camel, Aladdin and beautiful bodyguards come to America. Tamir introduces Aladdin to Mr. M, who is responsible for Aladdin's personal safety while in the United States. Mr. M thinks that there are people in the world, that is, except for the Arabs, the entire population is American. He calls Aladdin's group wild monkeys and introduces Aladdin to the Empire State Tower before Aladdin blows it up. He even warmly advises Aladdin to visit his favorite places. That night, Aladdin is kidnapped by a mysterious man. It turns out that Aladdin's kidnapper was Mr. M. Then Mr. M opens a bag of torture tools. He wants to fix Aladdin before sending him to see God. However, when Aladdin sees these tools, he calms down. Not only does he tell where and when these devices of torture come from, but he also teaches Mr. M how to use them. This made Mr. M extremely disappointed. Seeing that he can't threaten Aladdin, Mr. M decides to harm what Aladdin treasured most. Mr. M cuts off Aladdin's beard and burns it. Flames spread throughout the room, and Aladdin takes his opportunity to flee. He slips into a garbage picker suit, mingles with the protesters, and explains to the US police that he is Aladdin. At this moment, Aladdin's convoy passes and he sees Tamir sitting next to another Aladdin. At this point, he understands everything. It was all Tamir's plot. He angrily shouts, which provokes the protesters, who also shout. As for Aladdin's alternate, the guy is also an idiot. He embarrasses MPs or even makes members of the United Nations drink his urine. His action is interpreted as an act of hostility. The fake Aladdin follows Tamir's plan, publicly announcing to the world that the Wadiya Republic will be a democratic country. Aladdin, who is standing in the crowd, can't calm down when he hears this. He shouts, "My country is still a dictatorship." Out of anger, he climbs the wall but is attacked by the police with water cannons. During the riot, Aladdin is rescued by a girl named Zoe, but Tamir's plot is only just the beginning. Aladdin takes the alias Allison and follows Zoe to her supermarket. Zoe wants to give Aladdin a job, but Aladdin mocks the salesgirl with the crippled arms, Captain Hook. He is also racist against the black guy who works at the cashier. His opinion makes Zoe extremely angry. Tamir arranges some pretty girls to serve the fake Aladdin, but this idiot considers these girls to be dairy cows and starts to grab their breasts to milk them. Poor Aladdin, losing his beard, becomes an anonymous passerby. He is lonely wandering the streets, no one knows who he is, and no one believes him to be a dictator who killed him indiscriminately. Now he is like a helpless child crying in front of a shop window. Suddenly he sees a familiar face. Isn't that the architect Nadal who was executed? He quietly follows Nadal to a restaurant where all the customers and staff other people executed by Aladdin. How can this happen? As soon as everyone stands up to punish Aladdin, Nadal stands up and says Aladdin is his cousin. Nadal agrees to help Aladdin thwart Tamir's plot and regain his power on the condition that Aladdin makes him head of Wadia's nuclear program again, so their plan begins. He wants to sneak into the Trans Hotel to get his passport and discovers Zoe is competing to be the supplier of materials for the hotel event. So Aladdin wants a job in Zoe's supermarket. He becomes a cashier but acts violently toward customers and causes chaos in the supermarket. But he also has a good side. He punishes the naughty boy in the supermarket and deters the money thief from the cashier. To find the weak point of the Trans Hotel to break into, Nadal and Aladdin change into passengers in a helicopter to observe. During the conversation, the two repeatedly mention 911, jihad, bin Laden, and many sensitive keywords related to war. This scares the old American couple, so they alert the police, so Aladdin and Nadal are arrested. Zoe goes to the police station to bail the two of them. She even argues with the police. Her bravery appeals to Aladdin. After leaving the police station, Aladdin receives a hug for the first time in his life. The incident of Aladdin's arrest is televised. Tamir learns that Aladdin hasn't yet reported to God, so he sends a female assassin to kill Aladdin. The next day, to show how close she is to Zoe, Aladdin asks Zoe to have sex with him, but Zoe refuses. Instead, Zoe teaches Aladdin how to masturbate with his hands. This is the first time Aladdin knew how to achieve pleasure without a woman serving. This self-milking skill gets Aladdin excited. He preaches this skill to every customer in the supermarket. He even uses up a giant roll of toilet paper, but still doesn't feel satisfied enough. In the night, the female assassin sneaks into the supermarket to assassinate Aladdin. This female assassin used to protect Aladdin, but this time she is extremely cruel to him. Aladdin has nowhere to run, but during the struggle, the female assassin unfortunately drowns. The next morning, Zoe takes Ogden to her supermarket. Unable to explain the messy scene, Aladdin has said he milked himself all night and was exhausted. He even says Zoe was the one who taught him the skill. This obscenity causes Ogden, the head of events at the Trans Hotel, to turn around and leave. Unable to become a supplier for the event, Zoe is extremely frustrated. To make Zoe happy, Aladdin tries to change the entire staff in the supermarket and tries to market it. Not only that, but he also uses sophisticated tricks to make the supermarket go from grade C to grade A. When she sees the supermarket take on a new look, a happy smile appears on Zoe's face. Nadal reads the news in the newspaper and learns of the death of the Godfather of Harlem. To help Aladdin get his beard back, the two go to the Godfather's funeral. When entering the funeral, Aladdin is to anger the person in charge here. He also mistakes the person in charge as the husband of the famous singer Whitney. After some effort, the two run home with the Godfather's head and beard. Aladdin even hides the Godfather's head in the fruit stall and spooks customers. Thanks to Aladdin's help, Zoe's supermarket is running smoothly. Their supermarket is also famous for helping a woman give birth here. At this point, Zoe and Aladdin develop feelings for each other. However, according to Wadia tradition, if a girl is born, she will be thrown in the trash. This action of Aladdin scares the American people, who hastily declare that this daughter is what they have always wanted. That night, on a bright, windy moon, Aladdin and Zoe make love together. Aladdin uses the highest and most intimate level of lovemaking in this country, and now he tells Zoe the truth about his identity. He proves himself to be Aladdin and tells Zoe that she knows she has fallen in love with a sadistic and terroristic leader. Then the two break up because of different beliefs. Aladdin has to face loneliness again. Just as he's about to jump off the bridge to say goodbye to the world, Nadal quickly appears. He says it was Aladdin who sent him 7 messages to stop Aladdin from causing trouble. If Nadal doesn't appear at this time, it will certainly be embarrassing. Nadal encourages Aladdin to save the country and regain power for Aladdin. Nadal vows to support Aladdin to become dictator forever, because when thinking about the scene of a country under the rule of Tamir where no one has the right to speak, Aladdin decides to give it a try. The fake Aladdin is about to announce to the world that today the Republic of Wadia will establish a democratic system. The real Aladdin uses a cable to rush into the hotel room. This time he doesn't kill the fake Aladdin and lets him go. In front of everyone, he tears up his promise of democracy and vows to continue the dictatorship. Moreover, he also calls Tamir the scum of the nation, the culprit who planned to kill him. In addition, he mentions the good things he can do when Wadea is under dictatorship, even alluding to the freedom of the entire Wadea people being controlled by the normal family. He freely mentions the issue of secret eavesdropping and abuse of prisoners. While he is confident of his dictatorship, Zoe shows up. At that moment, he turns into a different person. One second he is berating democracy, the next he is saying that Wadea will be adopting democracy. Everything is reversed 180 degrees thanks to the power of love. As the two are embracing and kissing, Tamir takes advantage of the chaos to pull out his gun. Seeing Aladdin in danger, the fake Aladdin jumps out and completes his mission. The Morning News assesses the real state of the election in Wadea. It can be said that the world is easy to move, but people's nature is difficult to change. What will be the fate of poor Zoe while in this country? Alright, my video ends here. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on notifications. That really supports my channel. Goodbye.